Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Paul Morgan. I'm the Sales Manager at Crescendo Systems. We're a Microsoft Nuance Elite partner, which enables us to supply Dragon Medical One directly to end users. We currently support thousands of clinicians across primary care, community and acute settings in multiple specialties. Today, however, we're going to focus on how Dragon Medical One can be used for assistive technology. Excuse me. I guess as you are joining us today, you may be responsible for organising solutions for individuals who require additional support. Once we've covered some of the key features and benefits, I'll show you a short live demo within an EPR. There will be time for questions at the end, so please submit your queries at any point during the session. Slide 2, please, Olivia. So what is Dragon Medical One? Well, I'm going to call it DMO from now on because it's less of a mouthful. DMO is widely used medical speech recognition engine. The AI-powered algorithms. So I got a message saying someone can't hear anything coming through. Sorry, can you check that?
Yeah, I'm just checking.
Oh, unknown user I can hear. Sounds like a problem at that user's end. If someone.
Yeah, I would just
someone
look
else
at the top right-hand corner. There's a mic icon, and then there should be a drop-down where you can change the speaker. Okay, I'm going to go back on mute.
Thank you. Yeah, so sorry. Yeah, I guess as you're joining us today, you may be responsible for organising solutions for individuals who may require additional support. I did cover all of that, didn't I? Sorry, slide 2. Thank you. Yeah, so Dragon Medical One, I'm going to call it DMO from now on, is a widely used medical speech recognition engine. The AI-powered algorithms deliver 98 to 99% accuracy from day one, and it's used by more than 500,000 clinicians worldwide. On average, users report saving at least 1 hour a day, and that is like the normal users. You know, I guess with people that require this because they can't use a keyboard particularly well, it would be considerably more. We're primarily sorry, I'm being put in because I've got another message coming through. Don't worry, I'll continue. On average, users report saving at least an hour a day, as I said, considerably more if you're have difficulty with using a keyboard. We're primarily focusing on DMO during this webinar as it's most appropriate. In some cases, a professional version may suit a non-medical user. We would recommend this where required. Slide 3, please, Lib. So, DMO and reasonable adjustments. DMO is a valuable tool for individuals who need assistance due to impairment, disability or injury, helping them to work more efficiently and comfortably. Under the Equality Act of 2010, employers are legally required to make reasonable adjustments for an employee or applicants who are at a substantial disadvantage compared with others. Access to Work is a government-funded scheme via the Department of Work and Pensions that provides grants to cover additional workplace costs arising from disability beyond what is considered reasonable for the employer to provide. Okay. Slide 4, please, Libya. So the key benefits of using DMO, typically it's 3 times faster to talk than it is to type, and up to 6 times faster when typing is a difficult thing, or even using a keyboard is a difficult thing. You can dictate anywhere you can type, so it's not just about the patient record, Microsoft Word, NHS, mail, web-based applications. You can use it pretty much anywhere where you can type. Okay, no spelling mistakes. I mean, this is really useful for medical terms. You try spelling hemorrhages or diarrhea the right time first time. You know, some of those really complex medical terms can be challenging spelling wise. Equally bespoke words, your colleague's surname, the local village, the name of the local pharmacy or service. Bespoke words can be added on the fly as well, so we're not correcting repetitive local type stuff. But as I say, the important bit is the complex medical stuff, and indeed medication. Adaptive voice profiles. It basically learns the user's speech patterns. It will remove ums and ahs, for example. Always reminds me of a client I had at GP out in Essex, who started, whenever he started dictating, he always used to say, right arm, and that was his thinking process. And when we first got DMO, he used to type right arm. And of course, that was quite funny, but eventually, you know, within a day, it stopped doing it. So it does adapt to a user's dictation style. Okay, auto text, a really useful bit of functionality. This, an auto text is where you can say a trigger word and it will drop in a sentence or a paragraph. Really useful for sort of safety netting advice, risks and rewards for procedure, red flagging, that type of stuff. Okay. Another key feature is the auto commands. This is where we can use our voice to manage, navigate or control an application or our PC. And seamless integration with all leading EPR systems. And again, this includes navigation and control. Slide number 5, please, Liv. So again, beyond clinical notes, DMO just isn't just for your patient records. It can be used for coding, administrative tasks, email communication, learning, appraisals, professional development, and a lot of that can be really lengthy and quite often in your own time. So yeah, beyond the clinical stuff, it's a really useful bit of software. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen and I'm going to run through a demo of some of this that we've been talking about. Okay. Perfect. Someone just wants to give me a thumbs up. That might be you, Liv. And just
yeah, that's all good.
Yeah, super job. Okie doke. So this little bar here is what we call our dragon bar. You will see this going green from time to time. It's only going green because I'm switching it on and off. Okay. Just so as you're aware, I'm using a key on my keyboard to control the microphone today. Okay. And let's just give it a go, shall we? So, open patient, Morgan, search, select. Start consultation. Patient presented in surgery with malaise and joint pain over the last week, full stop. He is known to have suffered bouts of rheumatic fever in the past, full stop. Press tab. Splinter hemorrhages of his nail beds and red cells on urine microscopy. Code this. Press enter. Press tab. Subacute bacterial endocarditis. Code this. Press enter. New line. BP 140/80. Code that. Press tab. Patient to continue on 75 milligram benzyl penicillin injections for the next 2 weeks. New line. Safety net. Stop briefly there for a second. So a couple of bits in there. So I mentioned earlier in the as we were discussing things like coding, auto text. There's one of those really useful little auto texts. And everything that I did there, including bringing the patient to screen, starting the consultation, coding, navigating, I did hands-free. The only time I touched the keyboard was to turn the mic on and off. So this is kind of where we can customize this to make sure that the user experience is as good as it should be. Okay. In addition to this, we can do things like assessment template. So this is calling a template up to our screen. Again, you can just navigate your way around here, either using your voice, or if you just want to go straight into a text box, you can, and it'll allow you to 74-year-old gentleman presented in surgery this morning with hypertension, blurry vision and central chest pain, full stop. Episodes normally last 3 to 4 minutes. On occasions he complains of pain radiating down his left arm, full stop. Select left, right. So you can just obviously dictate directly into these templates, correct where you need to, just by using what we call select and say. So I mentioned sort of stuff outside of the clinical system. So another example of what I can do using my voice. So if I've got other sort of document templates that I want to use, care plan. Let's make this a little bit bigger for you. So in this particular document, I've got some variables. Okay, so I've called it up to my screen, again, without use of the keyboard. Next field. 1st of the 10th, 2025. Scratch that. 1st of October, 2025. Next field. Fracture of the left pubic ramus. Next field. Fracture is undisplaced, therefore no operation required. Next field. Pain management. Next field. Mobilizing the patient. Next field. Back to normal. Next field. Managing that with good pain relief. And just another quick example. New mail message. So I can create emails, documents, navigate, control my clinical system, but all this done where possible without interaction with the keyboard. But it takes customization and spending a bit of time with an end user to be able to make this work seamlessly. Okay. Would you mind bringing the slides back for me, Liv?
Of course, just give me a second.
Thank you. Sorry, do I need to stop sharing?
I think you might, Jess.
Sorry.
Oh, wait, no, it's all good.
Oh, okie dokie. So thanks for that. So important considerations, especially bearing in mind sort of looking at the demo. Reasonable adjustments and access to work requirements are often managed, as well you guys know, HR, wellbeing teams, whoever. But quite often you get funding approval through, I've seen approvals come through from DWP, and it just says, oh, Bytes or Fujitsu, or I can't remember, some of these big sort of Microsoft licensing type companies can supply Dragon. The problem you get with that is, yeah, they can supply it. So on your funding approval, it says X requires Dragon, order from ABC. And all too often, this results in the wrong version being supplied professional instead of medical, or one that isn't compatible with the clinical system, which is critical. I personally have, I've got lots of clients across the country that use us anyway. And then I'll come across some of their employees who've just been given Dragon. And the frustrations are just, I had one where it doesn't work with System 1, had the professional version, and their experience was just awful. So, picking the right supplier is really, really important. And it's not just an assistive technology supplier, but one that also specialises in the medical arena. Again, quite often we get people come to us looking for training because they've been supplied by another supplier who don't understand what EMIS is or System 1 is, or some of these other EPRs. So yeah, picking your supplier is really important. And with our experience, we've done this with thousands of clinicians over the years. We will ensure the correct version is supplied, the right microphone not only supplied but selected, software installed on all devices required, EPR integration, users receive tailored support and training, even on a one-to-one basis or a small group, depending on what they want. That's both initial and ongoing. I think, as you could see in the demonstration there's quite a lot of customizable stuff to fit around an individual's workflow. And sometimes that's coming back to us and having a little bit more training to achieve that. Customizing the user commands. We also have our own dedicated support center with telephone, email, help, live chat, and a really decent knowledge base. So basically all of this just ensures that the user gets the maximum benefit out of Dragon. Slide 8, please, Liv. So this is an example of data that we can provide, so you can see the impact of the software. So this can be on individual basis, or it could be a department, or it could be organisation wide. Clients with dozens of accessibility users find these reports really useful, especially in instances of reasonable adjustments, which isn't, it's trust funded. You can see the software is being utilised by all users, and if there's any additional training needs. The reports also showed financial benefit to using DMO. This is a redacted scenario of a period of a month. You can see from the graphic that there's 2 people missing, but 9 users across a month. The financial sort of time saving, and this was worked out at £30 an hour, which is pretty ridiculous, really, at over 2k. And like I say, at £30 an hour, obviously you ain't going to be 30 quid if it's a doctor. So slide 9, please, Liv. So why not give us a try? We got a no risk, no obligation free trial. We'll provide everything required to set up users, provide you with all the usage reporting and what have you that you're going to need. The month trial, obviously really useful. I actually hear that there's quite a lot of delay around access to work applicants. I'm hearing 3 or 4 months from some people. So this month's grace period could help with that as well. Okay. And slide 10, please, Liv. So we printed some cards, just simple little business card type things that you might want to keep in, you know, your desk drawer or in your laptop case. If you get staff coming to you asking for extra support, you can give them a card. There's a QR code on there. They can go on that. It will take them to a page, learn about dragons, suitable versions, etc. But it'll also give them access to the free trial as well. Okay, you can also do that via our website. You know, there'll be email, whatever you want. But sometimes it might be a few months down the line. You open your drawer, you see the card. There's the opportunity. So if you want to put, if you want some of these, and pop your postal address in the link, and we'll make sure that we send some of these out to you. Not asking for your address, as we can pop in and say hello. We're far too busy training users on this sort of thing. Okay. Yeah, next slide, I think, is Q&A. Is that? Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, we have quite a few questions in the Q&A actually.
Okay.
So probably just enough for the 9 minutes. Just again, the link for the trial business cards is in the chat, which you should be able to access. Okay, let's go for the first one. Somebody's asked if non-clinical staff can use this.
Yeah, so just to clarify it, yeah, you'll get times when it might be someone who's more on the admin side of things. So if it's a user who isn't using sort of the medical dictation or the complex stuff, yes, there is a version that would be useful for them as well.
Okay, great. And somebody else has asked, is it better to get the virtual version of Dragon rather than the desktop version to help with compatibility issues when using Dragon remotely? For example, single user Dragon is not always compatible with remote working virtual apps, as installing it in virtual desktop can change the license from single to multi-user and therefore breach the license.
Okay, got to take that on board. I think that may relate to the non-cloud previous version of Dragon, where you could have multiple profiles because it was PC based. This is cloud, so you don't have the issues that you used to have with sort of thin client, remote desktop, that sort of thing. But each user has their own cloud profile, so there is no share. Sharing of profiles is a massive problem because it's learning about the user's voice phonetics. So yeah, I think a lot of that relates to the old version, which is no longer available and no longer supported. It hasn't been for 2 years.
I'll probably also add this, potentially the providers may have given Dragon version 16, for instance, for medical. We've seen that in the past as well.
Again, yeah, version 16 is the only desktop version available now, but it is professional. Every flavor of Dragon, if you like, is available cloud-based. Typically, the only time that you'd want to use Dragon on your desktop PC, because it's an incredibly hungry application, is where you require multiple profiles, and that typically is education.
Okay, great. Somebody else has asked if Dragon's NHS approved software.
Yep, fully approved. Obviously we can provide you with DPIA, DTAC, DCB 0129 if I'm getting it all correct, but every hoop. Okay. I know there's been a lot of sort of talk about security and what AI and these systems. This is not one of these controversial sort of scribes, which is listening and summarizing a conversation and that sort of thing. That's kind of where a lot of the noise is around security at the moment. Dragon's been used in the NHS, full trusts and what have you for 4 or 5 years now, even before any of these kind of AI things came around. So not to be don't get mixed up with with that. This is fully compliant.
Okie dokie. And they also asked, and I think this kind of ties into the question before, does it work for nurses who are mobile and don't have a set desk?
Again, it needs to be on a PC. You can have, excuse me, like a mobile phone which will act as a microphone, but you will need to have like the cursor focused in the template or the clinical system that you're dictating into. So if you're working as a nurse and you've got like a workstation on wheels, for example, yeah, it's going to work in that scenario. There isn't a physical mobile. You talk to your phone and it records on your phone, but there's, you know, if you don't want to carry a microphone around with you, the app for the phone will suffice.
Okay, great. And somebody else has asked, is Dragon Medical and Dragon Professional version 16 compatible with iClip EPR?
I wouldn't know about V16, to be honest. It's non-medical and it's desktop based. I just I don't know whether the person can answer the question back quite quickly. Is that a web-based application? I would guess these days it probably may be. If it is, then, you know, there's an extension required either for Chrome or Edge, which will then make it compatible inside of that system. There's very, very few EPRs that, in fact, I can't think of one EPR that we can integrate with.
Okay. Well, I've got a couple more. Hopefully we can squeeze them in. Will discounted multi-license purchases / business licenses for Dragon be available in the future?
Always an interesting question, this one. Unfortunately, it's Microsoft have, if we be the Microsoft, biggest company in the world, they have limitations on when they will discount, and typically it's 100+ users. You know, it's a conversation we can take away offline, but don't build your hopes up too high, because it's Microsoft. You know, it doesn't matter whether you're buying one version of Office or 1,000. Their price is their price typically. But, you know, for those organisations that are big enough, 100+, you will get some sort of discount. Yeah.
And just, I think we've got time for one more. Again, kind of ties into the other question, or the last question. Do you think there are any plans to offer organisational licenses or subscriptions to allow organisations to bulk buy and assign licenses to staff immediately and avoid repeated procurement processes and potential delays? Okay,
so case by case, we certainly can look at that, and we can certainly talk to our contacts at Microsoft. When we're talking about a trust or a hospital with a large number of users, then, you know, there is a possibility to discuss things like site license. Again, it's going to be on a kind of a one-to-one individual, so it's probably something that we would take offline and yeah, negotiate for you.
Yeah, and I think that's, oh, we've got a hand up. But I think that's actually all we've got time for, because we've got, oh, the hand's gone down anyway. Yeah, that's about all we've got time for, but obviously any questions, you've got Paul's details below, and we'll also send you an email.
And there's the Q&A. We can respond to Q&As after as well, can't we?
Potentially, unless Teams has had an update.
Okay. Or if anybody's got anything really burning, obviously take a shot of the screen. There's my we're going to send out a recording of this anyway, but there's my email, my mobile, and landline on the screen there. Okay, well, look at that, 1 o'clock. That's never happened before. So thanks ever so much, everybody, for joining. Hope you've enjoyed the webinar this afternoon. And as I said, anything else you need, just feel free to come back to us. Thanks again. And thanks for your help, Liv.
Thank you, everybody.